Lord of Mysteries 2, Circle of Inevitability. Chapter 208, Countermeasure. Could Susanna Mattis' attack be imminent? Lumion pondered this question, considering that Charlie had no known enemies and had recently worked as a waiter at Salle de Bal Brise. Though it was possible that Charlie had simply experienced a string of unfortunate accidents, Lumion wasn't willing to take any chances. As Charlie carefully placed the tray down and waited, he grew uneasy under Lumion's gaze. Recalling the other's mystical prophetic ability, Charlie leaned in and whispered, "Did you see something?" A smile spread across Lumion's face. "I foresee a romantic encounter in your future. You'll form a relationship that goes beyond friendship with a beautiful woman. Is that true?" Charlie asked, surprised and delighted. "The woman's name is Susanna Mattis." Lumion chuckled, suppressing his words. "You're quite gullible, aren't you? How can you believe that?" "I knew it." Charlie looked disappointed. The presence of the idiot instrument had already revealed to him Seal's knack for deception. Lumion's smile faded as he watched Charlie make his way to the edge of the dance floor, carrying a tray filled with glasses. Thoughts raced through Lumion's mind. Am I simply unlucky, or is my fate predetermined? The official Beyonders will soon keep a close watch on Monsieur Ives and the Theatre de l'Ancien Cage pigeons. They'll arrest all the cultists who believe in the mother tree of desire and locate the evil spirit, Susanna Mattis, to purge her completely. Yet here I am, facing the possibility of Susanna Mattis launching an attack on me and Charlie today. Damn it, Termaboros, that pig's son. He must be behind this. Based on my observations of luck, the problem will likely arise late tonight or perhaps even at midnight the day after tomorrow. I can't solely rely on Susanna Mattis coming to Charlie and me the day after tomorrow. I must prepare for the worst-case scenario. Gradually regaining composure, Lumion, influenced by Franca and Jenna's vulgarities, forced himself to remain calm and assess the situation. Simultaneously, he devised an initial plan of action. First, he would discreetly alert Charlie, assuming a hidden identity, and instruct him to seek refuge in the nearest Eternal Blazing Sun Cathedral for the next 3 days. Second, Lumion would go to Rue de Blouses Blanches and enlist Franca's aid. With Franca and Mr. K's finger acting as his protectors, Lumion believed he stood a strong chance of surviving Susanna Mattis' initial onslaught. Furthermore, she would not have another opportunity in the future. Whether it was Franca's message to the official Beyonders through her secret channels or Charlie's presence at the cathedral seeking sanctuary, it would be enough to inform the Eternal Blazing Sun Church of Susanna Mattis' reappearance. Although Lumion could likely handle Susanna Mattis on his own with Mr. K's assistance, since he already owed Franca a favor, why not accrue a little more debt to ensure greater security? Without hesitation, Lumion finished his absinthe and departed from Salle de Bal Brise. He returned to room 207 of Auberge du Coq d'Or, retrieved the mystery prying glasses, and placed them on the bridge of his nose. Once again, the world spun, and he descended to the ground. He found himself surrounded by a vast network of brownish-green roots, insects scurrying about, and rats hiding in various corners. Just as Lumion was about to remove his glasses and begin applying his disguise, his eyes caught sight of a clump of turquoise hair entwined with vines and branches. Bang! Lumion's head spun, as if he had been hit, and golden stars danced before his eyes. In haste, he removed the mystery-prying glasses, bent down, and retched for a few moments. Once the wave of nausea subsided, Lumion seized the opportunity while the urge to draw still lingered. He reached for his makeup tools and began applying various substances to his face. Gazing into the dimly lit windowpane, Lumion found himself increasingly unrecognizable. He resembled one of the unkempt drunkards commonly found in dance halls. When he finished, he averted his gaze, afraid of the disorienting effects that might follow. Phew! Lumion put away his makeup tools, exhaled deeply, and filtered through the images he had witnessed while wearing the mystery-prying glasses. One image stood out in particular, an image of turquoise hair entwined with branches and vines. It struck a chord of familiarity within him, and he quickly made a connection. Susanna Mattis also possessed long, turquoise hair interwoven with branches and vines that seemed to materialize from nowhere. Susanna Mattis' territory likely lies somewhere underground in the market district? Lumian made a preliminary judgment. He couldn't help but grumble, why does it have to be underground once again? Isn't the underground of Trier already bustling enough? However, this also explained why the official Beyonders had been unable to fully cleanse Susanna Mattis during their previous encounter. Underground monsters were always challenging to eliminate, just like the Monsurus ghost. Lumian recollected the real Monsieur Ives' clandestine visit to underground Trier late at night. He remembered the perverted Hedzi, who had drugged Jenna and led her to an underground cavern. Hedzi seemed familiar with the area and felt at ease there. This convinced Lumian that Susanna Mattis was indeed hiding somewhere in underground Trier, not far from the location chosen by Hedzi. Deeper into the depths of the underground path, all the way to the end perhaps? Lumian speculated as he changed into simple cargo pants, incongruous with his formal top, and left room 207. Inside Salle de Bal Brise, Lumian surveyed the surroundings until he spotted Charlie, serving drinks to guests near the periphery of the dance floor. Leaning closer, Lumian discreetly brushed past Charlie and whispered, "Susanna Mattis." Amidst Jenna's singing, booming music, and clamorous voices, the name resonated clearly. Charlie froze in place, as if struck by lightning. Only then did Lumian gently remind him in a hushed tone, "I have received information that Susanna Mattis will re-emerge within the next 3 days. If you wish to avoid a grim fate, seek refuge in the cathedral tonight and remain there for 3 days." Charlie's initial reaction was one of horror. His second was to search for Seal. And his third was to inquire anxiously whether he would be fired for taking 3 days off. A lump formed in Charlie's throat as he searched in vain for Seal. He mustered the courage to ask in a hushed voice, "Really? You can choose not to believe it." Lumian managed to restrain his instinctual reaction to prevent Charlie from making any connection. With a deliberate effort to keep his voice low, he continued, "If you go to the cathedral tonight, someone will confirm the truth for you." Charlie's fear became too overwhelming to contain. He scrutinized the unfamiliar face before him and asked with a tremor in his voice, "Who are you? And why did you come specifically to warn me?" "Just someone who wishes you well," Lumian responded, borrowing a phrase his sister often used in jest. Without further explanation, he walked past Charlie, squeezing his way onto the dance floor and swiftly disappearing from view. Charlie felt as though he had been plunged into winter, his body shivering uncontrollably. During moments like this, memories of Susanna Mattis' beauty, tenderness, and passion would occasionally flash through his dreams. But every time, those memories would be overshadowed by grotesque images of tree-like warts, blooming flowers, and slimy substances, extinguishing any desire within him. And now, that monster was making a comeback. I should make my way to Église Saint-Robert. Charlie took a few steps toward the exit with the tray in hand, then halted. He recalled that it was already late at night, and Avenue du Marquet would undoubtedly have very few pedestrians at this hour. Such an environment posed greater danger than the bustling Salle de Bal Brise. Susanna Mattis always invades my dreams, or it's in the dead of night when everyone is fast asleep. But here, in the dance hall, with so many eyes upon us, she surely won't dare to appear. Once Seal returns, I'll ask him to escort me to Église Saint-Robert. Charlie withdrew his gaze from the door and decided to wait a little longer. The dance hall, teeming with various sounds and aromas, offered him a sense of security. 3 Rue de Blouses Blanches. Having wiped off his makeup, Lumian rapped on Franca's door. Franca's ponytail had come undone, allowing her flaxen hair to cascade naturally. However, instead of a nightgown, she sported a cotton 2-piece pajama set. Donning summer slippers, she turned to admit Lumian into the room and asked in bewilderment, "Are you here for some mystical knowledge tonight?" Considering the short time they had been apart, less than 2 hours, she couldn't think of any other reason. After Franca closed the door, Lumian spoke with gravity. "Something's happening with Charlie. I suspect Susanna Mattis will make a reappearance within the next 2 days, possibly even tonight." "So soon?" Franca couldn't hide her surprise. She still hadn't relayed the issues with Susanna Mattis, Monsieur Ive, and Theatre de l'Ancien Ja Pigeons to 007. Lumian nodded. Although it's hard to accept, all signs point to my guess being correct. What's your plan? Franca wasted no time discussing the possibilities. Lumian shared his 2 courses of action with Franca but refrained from mentioning Mr. K's finger. Franca regarded him with a smile. You're remarkably composed. Didn't you tell me before that Susanna Mattis is suspected to be a Sequence 5 malevolent spirit? Even if we join forces, we might not be able to defeat her. Tisk, are you placing too much confidence in me, or perhaps too much confidence in yourself? Lumian smiled. Both. To have survived the calamity in Cordoue, you're undoubtedly extraordinary. Franca sighed and glanced at the wall clock in the house. If we can make it through the night, there shouldn't be any issues. I'll inform the authorities swiftly through my connections. Wait for me in the living room. She retreated into her master bedroom and busied herself with something. Lumian settled on the sofa and directed his gaze at the cuckoo wall clock beside him, silently ticking away the minutes. Nearly half an hour elapsed before Franca emerged from her room. She had changed into a black robe adorned with leather armor and a hood. It's settled. They'll likely launch the operation tomorrow, she informed Lumian, then inquired. Aren't you concerned that Charlie might encounter trouble on his way to Église Saint-Robert? Even ordinary people can stumble upon malevolent spirits along the roadside in the dead of night. Église Saint-Robert served as the primary cathedral of the Eternal Blazing Sun Church in Le Marché du Quartier du Gentleman, near the Suet steam locomotive station. The attached cemetery had once occupied the space now occupied by Salle de Bal Brise. Lumian had already considered this. I plan to discreetly follow him to the cathedral after Salle de Bal Brise closes. I'll accompany you. Franca furrowed her brow and scrutinized Lumian. Won't Charlie be at risk in the dance hall? Some evil spirits pay no heed to the presence of others or their numbers. Given that Susanna Mattis' previous appearances hadn't affected anyone else, Lumian subconsciously believed that she would avoid crowded places. The dance hall was far more crowded than the motel. Jolted by Franca's reminder, he exclaimed in a deep voice. Let's hurry back to the dance hall.